या देवी स्तूयते नित्यं विबुधैर्वेदपारगैः सा मे वसतु जिह्वाग्रे ब्रह्मरूपा सरस्वती ब्रह्मरूपा सरस्वती ॐ. We will chant the last verse together. अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपः अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपः विभुत्वाच्च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां विभुत्वाच्च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां न चासङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेयः न चासङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेयः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं निर्विकल्पः aham nirakararupah aham. Very beautiful. Usually the last session when we end with some practical tips. Here there is no room for that, and the practical tips have been given throughout, and so we end with a big bang of owning up the vision of the teachings, all in the last verse, so that when we think of Nirvana Shatkam, we remember the last verse as the last word, not the last verse, but the last word on this jiva, on this jaded, faded, hapless, hopeless, complaining jiva. What is the last word? That is what is there in the last verse. Nirvikalpa, you can remove the definition of Nirvikalpa Samadhi for now. So here Nirvikalpa means, Vikalpa is divisions. Nirvikalpa means I am that consciousness who is free of divisions. And this we have to understand properly. What is the division? We have to first see. The first division that we encounter as soon as we wake up in the morning is the subject-object division. Who am I? Oh yes, I am just waking up. I am just here. And I am in this room. And all these things in the room are different from me. This is the subject-object division. So the subject-object division is rampant in our waking state. Everything is different from me. I am different from everything else. This is the problem, in fact. The subject-object division is taken to be real, and as a result, one suffers from not being the object and being separate from whatever one objectifies. Because from whatever one objectifies, there is a sense of alienation, and because of that alienation, there is some suffering, some sense of suffering. And so therefore here what is said, I am Nirvikalpa. Is it that after studying these 6 verses I became Nirvikalpa? No. I was already Nirvikalpa. And the 6th verse is telling what I already am. It's not that after studying Vedanta, the subject-object differences or the alienation between myself and everything else disappears. Why? Because I was already Nirvikalpa, a fact that I discovered through the study of the Nirvana Shatkam. Very important to understand this. Free of divisions means what? Free of divisions means identifying myself as that consciousness which is both subject and object. And in order to be both subject and object, what should it be? Free of being either. How to understand this? This we understand very much. We have experienced this in the dream state. This is what it is. In the dream state, you have a wonderful dream of having a party, inviting some friends. It is your birthday. And then in the dream party, you have given yourself a body. And then you pervade the entire dream world. You are the friends. The friends are not really there. You have given them the being. So the so-called objects in the dream, sentient people like your friends, they are not really there. You have conjured them up. You have given them a body. And then, of course, what's a birthday party without cake and all other nice things to eat? That is also what? You alone. All the objects in the dream, all other beings in the dream, and all other things in the dream, sentient and insentient, is all just you. And when the alarm bell rings and it's time to wake up, the entire dream folds back from that very consciousness from which it ensued. So we know what it is like to have the same subject and object. We know what it is like to have. So nirvikalpa means free of being subject or object. Meaning, first I have to say, I am non-separate from the subject and the object. What I call object is not separate from me. Why? Because when I look at the flower, what do I see? The flower thought is. Flower consciousness is. The flower is not separate from the thought of the flower. Without having the vritti of the flower, without having the thought of the flower perception cannot take place. Vritti means the mental modification that the mind undergoes to be able to focus on the flower. The consciousness which is reflected in the mind is like a spotlight. It highlights the flower. There is a spotlight on the flower. The whole consciousness for this moment that is streamed through the mind takes on the form of the flower, as it were. And then what? Now I have to say this flower is. Flower asti. Now I have to look at what happens. That same consciousness, limitless, free of name, free of form, what does it do? It shines as a spotlight on the knower of the flower, on the cognizer of the flower. It's like a person doing, what is that called? Mono acting. So they play many roles, they have many hats, and then they have some minimalist costumes because they can't keep changing into different people all the time. So they'll have maybe one beard, one mustache, one hat, something, to show the various roles. So then suddenly they'll come with a hat and then they will say some monologue and the spotlight will shine on them on this side of the stage, and then suddenly everything goes dark and then they come with a different costume, and then as though that person is talking to this person, and subject-object difference here, and then the spotlight shines on this person who is responding to that person. But all the while, who is that? Same person. The same person who then gets an award for excellent acting of various roles. Same person. And so here, that spotlight is that consciousness that shines on the object. Object consciousness is, meaning flower consciousness is, for example, if I'm looking at a flower consciousness is. And then when flower consciousness is, it's a fancy way of saying flower thought is. Thought is non-separate from consciousness. Flower consciousness is, flower thought is. So the flower thought occurs in the mind, and then I say what? I know flower, janami flower, pushpam janami. So when I say I know flower, then that same consciousness morphs, as it were, into the knower. That same limitless oceanic consciousness morphs as it were into the knower. I know flower. Now, when I have the epithet, the status of the knower, does the flower disappear? No. The flower is illumined simultaneously as the knower of the flower. In other words, the object consciousness is the object is illumined by the same consciousness as the cognizer of the object, also illumined by the same consciousness, which means consciousness has to be nirvikalpa, without divisions. Without divisions does not mean the divisions get the divisions disappear in the wake of this knowledge. The divisions cannot disappear in the wake of this knowledge. The divisions are Ishvara Srishti. They are not made by us. They are a part of this big Jagat created, projected by Ishvara. They are here to stay. But I am not opposed to the objects. I am not opposed to the subject. So I can, in this, because of this teaching, what can I do? I can stay alive and awake to various differences without thinking of them as divisions. The word division is a subjective word, is a subjective word. Differences, objective word. Yes, there is a difference between subject and object. Wave and ocean, for example. There are differences. There's differences in size, there is differences in everything. But the wave is not opposed to the ocean. Why? Because both are water. The pot is not opposed to clay. And so in the same way, nirvikalpa means I am that consciousness which is unopposed to subject or object, because it is neither subject nor object, yet object consciousness depends on consciousness, object depends on consciousness, subject depends on consciousness to be cognized. But consciousness, we can say, is both subject and object, and for something to be both, it has to be neither. This is what we mean by limitlessness, ananta, ananda. This is what it is. It is neither. Neither subject nor object nor the means of knowing. And this oceanic consciousness I am not opposed to names and forms that I encounter, starting with this body, mind-sense complex. Then that is where we can bring in Ishvara and say it is all an expression of Ishvara. The subject-object division is an as-though difference. It is not a real difference. So there is nothing other than this consciousness. And the name of this consciousness is what? Aham. Aham nirvikalpaha. Aham is equal to nirvikalpaha. Mahavakya here. An equation, just like we saw earlier. And then, okay, I'll bite. All right. And now now I am consciousness. Now I want to take some notes on what this consciousness looks like. Nirakara rupaha. Nirakara rupaha, whose form is ... formless. Yes, whose form is formless. Because it cannot be any form. If it illumines all forms, then it cannot be any one form. And neither can we call it the light which is the illuminer of all forms and it is sitting somewhere else. No, because in order to illumine the form, it takes the shape of the form at any given time, at any given place, without becoming the form. Like even the crystal. And then you put some yellow cloth behind the crystal. What do you get? What do you see? Yellow. No, you see a TTC student. That's what you see. Yeah. You don't see yellow. Yeah. And then after that you take away the yellow cloth, oh, the crystal is clear, free of color. Then you put an orange cloth behind the crystal. What do you see? Yes, exactly. You got the drift of it. Say hello to Swami Kristalananda. New Swami on the block. Yeah. But then you take away the orange cloth. The crystal is free and clear. Nirakara rupaha. Completely free of all colorations, of all form, and then we can bring in all the verses. No raga, no dvesha, no papa, no punya, no dharma, no artha, no kama, no moksha, no relationship, no father, no mother, no this, no that, nothing. Because why? It is formless. And so all forms are its form, but it itself is formless. So this whole thing we call the world of names and forms is Chidananda plus name and form. Chidananda plus name and form. And it's a value added plus. Because if you take away the plus, if you minus the name and form, Chidananda does not start crying. Oh, one more form is gone, one more name is gone. No. It upholds all forms by as though taking the form itself, taking the name and the form without becoming anything in particular. The 6th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad opens with this teaching. Opens with this teaching where the teacher says to his son, now turned Shishya, student, Uddalaka, teacher, Shvetaketu, student. Sadeva Somya idamagre asit ekameva dvitiyam. Before this manifest Jagat came to being, the Jagat was there. What? How can it be there? How the universe was there before it came into being? How was it there? It was known as Sat. Sat means what? Undifferentiated existence is called Sat. Undifferentiated existence is called Sat. And what is it now? Differentiated existence. And then when the whole Jagat folds up, what will it be later? Undifferentiated existence. Nirvikalpa. Undifferentiated existence, it was before. Undifferentiated existence, it will be later. Right now, it is as though differentiated existence. Then he says, it is only one Sat, not many Sats. If there is many Sats, the pursuit of Vedanta is useless. One Sat. And even when you say one, it can become half Sat, 1/4 Sat. To take away that possibility, Advitiyam Sat. Advitiyam means non-dual Sat. Then what is all these things that I see in the room? Lights, fans, doors, windows, people. And outside I see trees, houses, tents. What is all this? If that question were to be asked, the teacher says, Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. It is all resting, the things that I named just now, their reality is resting on the tongue. Room, it's a word with a meaning. Table, a word which has a meaning. Chair, a word which has a meaning. Asana, a word which has a meaning. Microphone, a word which has a meaning. Tree, word and meaning. House, word and meaning. Room, word and meaning. Earth, word and meaning. Rain, word and meaning. So the whole thing that we call the universe is a series of word and meaning, 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 endless buffet of words and meanings. Sat plus word and meaning is the Jagat. Word and meaning is differently described as name and form. Word is name, meaning is the form. So the name and form come and go, and what informs the name and form is consciousness, Sat. That Sat which is at once Chit, because it's a sentient consciousness, it's a never-ending consciousness which is Ananta, Ananda. That is what is quote-unquote inside, informing all names and forms, itself nameless and formless. Sat is a name we give it, but itself has no name, no form. And it is not opposed to any name and any form. And so this being the reality, then Shvetaketu is confused. How do I understand it? And then the teacher continues, Ekena mritpindena sarvam mrinmayam vijnatam bhavati. In order to understand the reality of the pot, I don't have to do PhD on each and every pot. If there are 1,000 pots, I don't have to do 1,000 PhD on each pot, measuring it and cataloging it and all these things. Unless one is a geologist or something like that, excavating somewhere and looking at some earthenware. That's record keeping, that's different. That's the archivist's function. But here, the name and form which are there, in the form of so many names and so many forms, Uddalaka, the teacher, says, look at earth, clay. Do only one study. You don't need 1,000 PhDs, you just need one. What is that? You analyze clay. Because every pot, the truth of every pot is clay. Ekena mritpindena, by examining, studying one lump of clay, sarvam mrinmayam vijnatam syat. The whole world of earthenware is as good as known. Therefore, by knowing Sat, one becomes Sarvajna, all-knowing, because Sat is indeed all. You don't have to really obsess about each name and each form. Ekena mritpindena sarvam vijnatam syat. And everything else, the whole world of names and forms rests on my tongue. And who am I? The illuminer of all names and forms, that consciousness which is the illuminer of names and forms, that which is illumined non-separate from this I consciousness, the status of the illuminer also non-separate from the consciousness. And then consciousness is neither illuminer nor illumined, but unopposed to being both illuminer and illumined. That is why Nirakara Rupaha. And then in the next line, the reason, the hetu is given. We can give many reasons, but Shankaracharya focuses on one reason. Vibhutvat. Vibhuhu means vividham bhavati. That which has taken on many forms, as it were, without becoming any one thing. Vibhutvat. Because I am Vibhu. Vibhu is the name of Bhagavan. Prabhu, Vibhu. Prabhu, Prakarshena Bhavati iti Prabhu. And then Vibhu, Vividham Bhavati. Prakarshena Bhavati means magically the one who is everything. Without my knowing, without my seeing. Prabhu. Vibhu means the one who is essentially formless, but is manifest as many different forms. Vibhu. Vividham Bhavati iti Vibhu. So this Vibhu, who is this Vibhu? Don't look around. It is here. This is me. This consciousness which I have just newly owned up as myself is this Vibhu. I am the one who is Vibhu. Vibhutvat. Vibhutvat means because I am the one who is manifest as many names and forms. I am that consciousness as though manifest as all the names and forms in the universe. I am Vibhu. And this becomes the reason why I am Nirvikalpa, why I am Nirakara. I am formless and nameless and without division, even though I am all the divisions and differences I myself am. See, first there is a negation, na iti, Nirvikalpa, negation, Nirakara, negation. This is the beautiful pedagogy of Vedanta. Then first you negate everything, say I am not this, I am not this, and then if I negate everything, there is still the negated duality is there. So in this line, everything is taken in, and then the negated duality is seen as that which is as though negated. First I say I am not any one thing, I am this consciousness, and then I say I am everything. Sarvatma bhava. How do you know you are everything? Sarvendriyanam sarvatra ahamasmi. This is the seventh case, which means I am as though located everywhere. How do you know? Because I am in the form of that consciousness which cognizes everything, which illumines everything, which is non-separate from everything. Consider this, the same ears. They are the cognizers of the note, any note, C sharp, yes. But then if you want to then look at D sharp, do you get another pair of ears? No, same pair of ears. Same sense of touch can touch a hard, rocky surface, very hard, and then the same sense of touch also cognizes what? Velvet, soft, all the textures. Vibhutvat, because I am Vibhu, I am in the form of everything. And the sense organs are the little illuminers of everything that is here. And even though they are illuminers, they are non-separate from everything. I am non-separate from everything that is here. And so the cognizer cognized difference is an as though superimposition on that consciousness, free of being cognizer, free of being cognized. If the superimposition is real, then I'll be always cognizer, or I'll be always an object. But the subject-object difference is an as though superimposition, just like the different colored cloths behind the crystal. The crystal is free of yellow cloth, free of red cloth, blue cloth, all the colors it is free of. Even when the yellow cloth is behind the crystal is free of that coloring. Because one doesn't know that, one considers the crystal to be yellow, but the crystal is free of being any particular color, even though it is sporting a yellow look. It is free of being any particular color. Similarly, vibhutvat cha sarvatra, I'm all pervasive. I'm that all pervasive consciousness. And even though I may cognize various objects, object consciousness is, subject consciousness is, and who am I? Is. That is morphs into subject-object, and then everything in this whole universe, I alone am. Vibhutvat cha sarvatra sarvendriyanam. And therefore, nacha asangatam. Asangatam means the attachment. Attachment means this neediness. Neediness, I don't have to explain what that is. Yeah, it's a clawing feeling that I am incomplete without these various crutches. Throughout the course of one's life, one accumulates more and more crutches. And then the whole house is adorned with props. What is this doing here? No, I can't live without this. What about that? That also I cannot live without. What about this? This also I need. Why? Because I feel sad without it. Everything is a prop, everything is a crutch. And Adi Shankara says, for the whole life to be filled with props is highly improper. Is highly improper in the light of this teaching. The whole idea is to shed the props through the study of the Upanishad. You see, yeah, that's what makes you shed. That's what makes one shed. All these dependencies. So, sada aham asangaha. Nacha asangatam. Asangatam means asamantat sangatam. Completely, fully connected and stuck to everything. I'm free of all dependencies. Actually, it's a very good sadhana to tell oneself that every morning. I'm free of all dependencies. Oh Lord, oh Goddess, let me at least lead today like that, in this manner, free of all dependencies. Nacha asangatam, asangatam. I don't have this attachment to anything. Oh, then are you detached? I was never attached to become detached. This is something we have to understand. That's why I don't use the word detached. Detached means what? There is an assumption I was attached. I was never attached to become detached. It's like me saying, now that the crystal had red cloth behind it, now I'm going to wash the crystal very nicely in soap and water to get out the red cloth. Do I need to do that? To get out the red coloration? It was never red. Here I was never, I had no sangha. I was never attached to call myself detached. These are relational, relative terms. If one is not there, then the other one is also not there. Nacha sangatam. And then we'll take the last one first. Na me yaha. Na me yaha means I am complete. There is nothing more to know, nothing more to have, nothing more to accumulate, no more props to get, no more props to have. A kind of a drastic meditation can be when you go back to your houses, when you go back to wherever you live, look at all the things that are there in the living room. Maybe you have displayed some things. Maybe there is many things will be there. And then think of the things that are extremely essential in your living quarters. Bed, chair, table. You can even add a few cushions, creature comforts, whatever it is that you're using every day. Then you minus cognitively all the other things from these essential things. Then look closely at each and every non-essential things that you have in the living space. Just start with one room, otherwise it will be very overwhelming. And then imagine it, the non-essential thing, imagine that it has turned into a crutch. Visualize these hospital crutches in the place of all the things that are there. Yeah. Do you like your interior decor now? Yeah? Does it look nice? Do you want to live like that? This is a very powerful sadhana. You can do this. Turn all the non-essential things into various colored crutches. Big, small, all kinds of things, canes, walking sticks, anything that you depend on. You know that this is what you just see. And then you say, oh my God, get me out of here. I don't like this house. Why? It reminds me that I am a dependent person. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody likes that. I want to be independent, starting age 2. The child says, I want to tie my own shoe. It can't even say the word shoe. It says chew. I want to tie my own chew. That is the nature of the self, independent of everything. But yet one lives like a beggar. Yet one lives like some person who has no independence. So there is nothing more to want. There is nothing more to get. There is nothing more to acquire. There is nothing more to deny. And moreover, furthermore, there is nothing more to know. Meyaha, prameyaha. There is nothing more I need to know. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad has a beautiful vakya. Atmanam ched vijaniyat. Ayam asmi iti purushaha. If the Atma is to be known fully, I am this consciousness. Purusha here, Purushaha means Purushaha. Purushaha means here consciousness, nirvikalpa, nirakara. If I am this consciousness, free, full, whole, limitless, without a second, tataha kimartham kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. So if I know this, then why will I waste calories getting into a feverish pursuit of all kinds of crutches? All pursuits come from a sense of incompleteness. The sense of incompleteness is notional, not real. When this completeness is understood as the truth of me, the pursuits do not have that frenzy. Will there be still pursuits? Sure. One can do whatever one likes, as opposed to one doing whatever one thinks one has to do in order to get through the day, get through the life. There is a difference. The pursuits then will be optional. not frenzied, not frenetic. The pursuits will then help the universe, because I want nothing for this little self. The little self is no longer there. It is huge now. And I don't have to obliterate this body, mind, sense complex in order to understand myself as the truth of the universe, the truth of the manifest universe, Ishvara. Otherwise, no one will come to Vedanta. Already so few people for Vedanta. If you have told you have to obliterate yourself in order to become whole, nobody will come. So therefore, that's not the point. The point is to understand that despite the subject-object differences, I still retain this body-mind-sense complex. This is what Jivan Mukti is. But I do not buy into its so-called limitations. The limitations are cognitively removed. Somebody asked me, if I study Vedanta and get enlightened, will all my problems go away? I said, no. Oh, you waited till the last day to say no. But wait till you hear the whole answer. I said, no, the problems will not go away, but you will not care because you will be so big that you can even take on the problems of the whole world without being affected or stressed out. That is what it is. That is what it is. There is no frenzied pursuit, and any pursuit I choose is naturally informed by Ishvara. I am in tandem with Ishvara. It is creative. It is helping the universe, because I myself am whole and complete. I don't want anything for myself. It is whole, it is free, this consciousness which is I. But then I see that in the universe, people are as though suffering. There may be people who are sad, there may be people who are in need. And whatever I can do, I do freely and fully, not to get a sense of validation, not to be tethered to another dependency. Oh, they will give me some accolades, so I have to do this. I have to do this in order to get rid of my empathy or my own sorrow. No. The pursuits that the jnani, the person of knowledge, takes up are just all free and for fun. Not because there is a sense of dependency there. Na meyaha, nothing to know, nothing more to do, nothing to find out, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. And then finally, na muktihi. Oh, this whole pursuit called moksha, mukti, freedom, 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 that took me from door to door, knocking on every ashram, until one ashram was kind enough to let me in and take me. I kept on knocking, going hither and there. And then finally what? What is the teaching? You are not bound. Therefore, you don't need to be free. You are never bound to begin with. What was this bondage? It was notional. And as though superimposition on that consciousness which is free of the superimpositions. And to illustrate this, an ancient story is told. A Shishya lived with his guru somewhere in the mountains, hard to reach place. 300 cows they had. And then the Shishya's job was to take the cows out for pasture, water, bring them all back, and then lock them up, tie them up for the night, and then the next morning do the whole thing again. One evening he comes back, and then finds that even in those ancient days, some thief has stolen away all the ropes. The ropes to tie the cattle is not there at all. No rope. And I've told you, in these remote areas, Amazon doesn't have same-day service. Could not order rope. No drones, nothing. All the shops are closed. What is he going to do? He says, I have to go to my teacher. Guru, 300 cows are there in the ashram, but no rope to tie them. Somebody stole the rope. What shall I do? Don't worry, my son, Guru says. Pretend to tie them. He says, what? Pretend to tie each one of them. Pretend to lead them to their post and tie them up. Make sure you tie them up nicely. The Shishya thinks Guru was okay up till now, but now I think his old age is catching up. But Guru's Agya, Guru has given an order. I have to do this. Okay, let me pretend to tie. Half-heartedly, he just goes and ties, and the cow settles down to chew the cud. He's surprised. He says, it's not moving at all. This blessed cow is not moving. Then the second, third, 99, 299, 300, all of them are happily, safely in their places chewing the cud. And the Shishya said, forget Vedanta. The Guru has his powerful mantra to keep this unruly herd of cattle in one place just by this mantra. I have to get to know this mantra. The Guru enjoys a good sleep. The cattle also enjoy good sleep. The only one who doesn't sleep is what? The student. Shishya is red, bleary-eyed. Every half an hour he comes out of the room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, everybody is there. Because if the cattle, the cow runs away in the night, Guru is not going to go after it. He has to go after it. And that means one class he has to miss because he will be bringing back the cow. So therefore, he just wakes up completely bleary-eyed. And then after that, he has lost all patience by the morning. He says, come on, chop, chop, go to the water. Not a single cow moves. Then he says, you know, you're trying my patience. I have not slept all night because of all of you. Come on, go. He takes that cattle prong, you know, there is a goad. And he pushes one cow from one side. It receives the goad, but it goes like this. Doesn't get up. Then he says, I'll show you. And he does this side. It goes like this and it's still there. He says, oh my God, OMG, this mantra is very powerful. He goes to the Guru and he says, lots of very busy day, visitors coming, so many things happening. I have to bring you your tea, I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to take these cows to the pasture. Release them from the mantra. Guru says, did you untie them? What? I never tied them to begin with. I just pretended to tie them. Okay, go pretend to untie them. What is this Guru? And he says, all right, oh, this is a very difficult knot, let me untie. The cow is also eager to go to the pasture, eager to go to the water. He unties one and it rushes to the pasture. He unties the other one, it rushes to the water. Like this, all of them go. And this is exactly the pursuit of Vedanta is like. All of us are cows. Thinking ourselves to be tied up. And it takes the benign glance of the teacher to see that there is no problem to begin with. There is no problem to begin with. But then the Guru goes along because of the karuna, the compassion. The Guru goes along and says, yes, I see the problem here. Yeah. No room, I'm tied up, oh Guru. Yes, I see the problem. Don't worry. I will untie you. I will untie you through the study of the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, all these things. These are all so-called untying for the one who feels I am tied up in knots without really being tied up. This is exactly what the Nirvana Shatkam teaches. Na muktihi, na bandhaha. No bondage, no need for mukti. But you have to go through this paradox, the as-though paradox. You have to go through the as-though paradox in order to come out the other side to come to this conclusion. And that is why the teaching is needed. That is why I can't intuit this, because we are talking about the nature of the intuiter. I cannot stumble on this knowledge because we are talking about the truth of the one who stumbles. I cannot suddenly, spontaneously get this knowledge because we are talking about the one who wants to get this knowledge. So therefore, I, the complaining, subjective individual, exposes myself to this teaching by which all vikalpas which cause pain, sorrow, afflictions are miraculously, as it were, taken away. And I wish for everyone that one gains this knowledge in this blessed sacred lifetime itself. May you be whole, may you be free, may you be limitless, may you be filled with loving kindness always. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much.
So we'd like to take this opportunity again to give our deepest appreciation and gratitude for Swamini Svatmavidyananda Saraswati. Let's give her another very big hand. As we'd like to very much appreciate Swamini Ji coming for this week to the ashram and sharing so wonderfully and so inspiringly the teachings of Advaita Vedanta of Adi Shankaracharya, and for her great support for this ashram and this organization for many years, coming to our different ashrams and sharing and giving so much illumination about the knowledge of the self. So we'd like to take this opportunity also to bid farewell to Swamini Ji, who is leaving the ashram this morning. We'd like to wish you a very safe travel and great success in all of her teaching and helping so many souls around the world with all of her writings and teachings. And so we'd like to wish her very strong health and great success with sharing the knowledge around the world. And we're also very happy to mention that we already have the dates. Swamini Ji will be coming back next year. This will be on January 13th to the 20th. So it's a great opportunity. So let's give another very big hand to Swamini Ji. And we will also be dedicating the final prayers this morning for her safe travels. And we very much look forward to welcome Swamini Ji back at the ashram.